Hey, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of CX Riot Radio, where we talk about customer experience and stuff still in a hyper caffeinated state. I'm David. I'm the caffeinated CXO, and I'm your host on CX Riot Radio. Yeah. Before we begin the episode, let me just let you know we have merch, we have books, we have things. And you can purchase these by clicking on the Linktree link in the description or the show notes or the whatever you call it. All right. So there we go. Had to get that out of the way because Daddy wants some new things. New things. Okay. Okay. Also, the books have an option just to download the PDF. So no charge. No charge. But it is appreciated if you bought them instead so I can get the 15 cents profit I get from Amazon. Same with the merch. I get about 30 cents per shirt that's sold. I had to pause it there just to process that in my own head. That seems kind of dumb. But even with 30 cents profit, it's like still like $10 for the shirt. And personally, I wouldn't pay more than $10 for a t-shirt. Ever. No matter what was on it. Could have a picture of my mom on it and I would not spend more than $10. That's a good shirt design idea, actually. I love my mom and so can you. For only $19.95. Perfect. That's good. So, what are we going to talk about today? Today, we're going to talk about empathy and why it's okay, not so much empathy. We're not going to talk that much about empathy. What we're going to talk about is empathy statements, which are some of the most non-empathetic things ever. They are so non-empathetic that they just go right into pathetic, right? And only two kinds of people would have come up with something like empathy statements. Number one, a sociopath. And number two, a QA manager. Yep, that's right. We're talking empathy statements on call center scripts. Okay? And why they are bullshit most of the time. And these have been around since call centers have been around. Ever since over the phone customer service began, there's always been empathy statements in one form or another. Why? Because people can't hear empathy over the phone. They can't hear it in your voice. And in the next breath saying, keep your posture on and keep a smile on your face because they can hear that in your voice. But empathy they can't hear. Huh. Interesting. I'm more on the side that a sociopath who does not feel empathy came up with the empathy statement because that's how they've been manipulating people into thinking that they had empathy, is using empathy statements. And while it's always good to be like, I get it. Yeah, no, I understand that. Wow. That must be tough to deal with. Customers are not calling for empathy. They want to be heard. They want to be understood. But more importantly, they want you to fix whatever it is they're calling in about. They're not calling in just to talk to you. Unless you work at like a crisis line or a line for lonely people. They're not calling you just to chit chat or talk about the weather or talk about their cat. They're calling you because they have they need a solution to a problem they can't fix themselves. Sometimes the best way of showing that you understand, that you get it, that you know what someone is feeling is by fixing that issue. And fixing it in such a way where that issue does not happen again to that customer or, honestly, to anybody else. Now, let's go a little bit deeper on this, okay? Because I think that we have to. I think that we must because, one, I have 2 drinks with me and I just opened a pack of smoke. So we have time to talk, okay? We have time to talk. So, do you think that the sociopathic person and the QA manager are the same person? Maybe the QA manager was just tone deaf, so they couldn't hear the empathy in the person's voice, and they needed something concrete to go off of, or that maybe they were working off of transcripts, right? Which doesn't make much sense. Transcripts are, and the whole scope of call centers kind of new, right? But I could definitely see empathy statements being a must-have, if you want to score by that, in those AI QA score thingies, right? Where they just go off of the transcript and they match the transcript back against the script, right? See how adherent you are to it, which is like really dumb way of doing it because scripts should be something that's in spirit and not the letter of the law. Okay? Because most scripts suck. Most scripts, maybe even nowadays more than not, right, sound like they were written by a robot. And nowadays, they probably were written by ChatGPT. So, there we go. So, and you can tell if you read them verbatim. You can definitely tell. And then if you have someone sticking to a script, what happens if the customer goes off script in a way that they don't have a script follow-up to go off of? Oh, that's just a QA's nightmare right there, right? A compliance nightmare. When they went this way, you should have brought them back this way. Okay. Yeah, that's call control, but did you listen to the call? No, I just read the transcript, man. And you didn't stick to the script. The new doohickey gave you a 30. Did you listen to the call? Because we got the problem solved. No, I just read the transcript. Because listening to the call would have taken time out of my busy schedule. It is what it is. All right. So, what is more important than empathy statements? And again, I'm not saying don't display empathy. Don't be empathetic. You should be, right? Because you're a human being and the customer is a human being. If they didn't want to be heard, if they didn't want to be understood, they would have done everything over self-service or a chat or something like that, right? So, unless they did or they tried to and it didn't work, right? So they wouldn't be calling you if, they didn't need to. Although, yeah, there are still those people that just call instead, like the same people that refuse to go to a self-checkout line, right? Because we're going to save these people's jobs. Well, no, you're not. But I agree with the sentiment. But, and honestly, if I have more than like 5 or 6 items, I am not going to the self-checkout. I'm not going to do their job for them. The store should hire more cashiers if that's an issue. I don't know. That's me though, okay? All right? Nobody thinks about the customer when they're cutting costs, do they? Nope. Nope, they don't. And that's kind of sad. But anyway, um, things that should be graded and things that should count more than an empathy statement is pretty much everything else, right? I would say tone should be graded, right? And the hard thing is if, let's say, you outsource your QA, your call grading, right? Tones are different in different places, right? And by outsource, I mean overseas, okay? I don't mean onshore or like near shore, okay? It's just, we're talking here, okay? Okay, it's just us yapping away. That's okay, because that's what we do, isn't it? So, it might be hard for some people to hear tone and things unless they share a common vernacular and a common culture. It is what it is. I don't like saying that. I don't like believing that is true, but it is true. And sometimes things are how they are. Okay? Or if you've gone the transcript route to save a little bit of time. Because time, unfortunately, is money. Forgot what I was talking about. But tone is a big one. Because the tone is the message. I got that from Thomas Laird, the advice from a call center geek guy. And even though I always knew it was true, I never said it that way, right? I always said, your tone is important. But honestly, tone is the message, is a much better saying. Thomas is a much smarter guy than I am. So it is what it is. Another thing that counts or should count more than an empathy statement is did they have to call back to get this issue resolved? I think right there, that one should be the most important because every time someone calls, it costs you guys money. Okay? Especially if it's for a customer service thing and not a sale. If it's for a sale, like, and they want to buy something else, completely different. That's not what we're talking about, but you knew that. Get over yourself, okay? All right? It's fine. So, first call resolution, right? How easy it was for the customer to do business with the agent, right? Was the agent efficient? Did the agent know the system well enough to be efficient? Did the agent know how to do this, that, and the other effectively without having to put the customer on hold to ask a question or anything like that, right? Another thing that should matter more than empathy is answer time. And I know most call centers have a thing where, like, the headset beeps and you're automatically on the call. But others don't. Others present the call. And the agent has to accept the call. So how fast did they accept the call? I think that one is more, right? Was the agent helpful, right? Were they friendly? And let's face it, okay, when it comes to empathy statements, how empathetic can someone be after hearing the same thing for the 50th time in the same day? Right? And I get the counter argument, right? Yeah, that might be their 50th time, but it's that customer's first time. Cool. It's still the same issue, right? So sometimes you just need to, in the words of that one comic back from like the late 90s or the early 2000s, one of those, sometimes you just gotta get her done, right? You gotta fix the issue so that the customer can go about their day without having to worry about anything. So, I think that was Larry the Cable Guy. Honestly, yeah, Mater. Mater from Cars. I like Cars. And I know a lot of people will disagree with me, but Cars 2 was a great film. Not only was it a good addition to the Cars universe, maybe it didn't make a good sequel to the original Cars, but it did make a good addition to the Cars universe to flesh it out. It was a good spy movie. So, there we go. That is your fun fact of the day. Cars 2 did not make a good sequel to Cars, but it was a good piece of world building for the Cars universe, which is a post-apocalyptic world where a sentient AI took over and killed all the human beings, and now only sentient cars live. It's okay. It's okay. It's like Skynet, but with race cars. It's fine. But anyway, first call resolution, speed of answer, effectiveness, and efficiency. Those are things that matter more than empathy statements, right? And tone. Forgot about tone. So tone, first call resolution, effectiveness, efficiency. Boom. Period. The tone takes care of the empathy part. The first call resolution shows that the agent cares and that the agent understands and that the agent is being empathetic. And then the efficiency, because, why keep the customer on the line for more than they need to be when you don't have to? So every agent should know the system and the policy so well that they don't need to put the customer on hold, or the knowledge base or the agent assist cards need to be so robust that they can just glance at it and be like, oh, okay, there's the answer, buddy. Right? And how effective are they at this? How well do they take the call? Right? I think if you work those things into your QA scoring, one, you're going to have much happier customers. And you're not going to offend people by saying you're sorry about something that the customer knows that you don't feel sorry about. Right? And the classic one I always use, because this one happened to me, was I was calling to get my bank balance. This was a long time ago, right? And the person I got was, and they answered, and I was like, hey, yeah, I need to check my bank balance. And the person was like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I was like, what? It wasn't a bank balance. It was, I had the Bluebird American Express card. That's what it was. And their website was down. So that was fun. Because the card stopped working when we were at Disneyland. He didn't know that. So, but anyway, that was embarrassing. We switched out of Bluebird after that because it was like the third time that happened in like 4 months. So whatever. And yes, there was a balance on there. Okay. So I'm not poor. I am cheap, but I'm not poor. All right. So it is what it is. Get over it. But anyway, so those are the things that you need to score, right? You don't need empathy statements Empathy statements really make you sound like a jackass. So, what you need is to show the empathy by getting their shit fixed. Period. Okay? That's the episode. That's what I was trying to, that's what took me 20 minutes to explain. All right. Well, I'll see you next time. Bye.